Oh shit, here we go again.
So, if you followed what's been going on in Balkan politics, which, let's be real, you probably haven't, new civil unrest has been awoken, and there has been a shit ton of protests and riots going on in Montenegro and Serbia. Essentially, Serbs are as riled as ever, and we all know what happens when Serbs get riled up.
My nigga, you just got roasted, yo!
So, how in God's name did we get here? Well, speaking of God, it all started here. Montenegro has recently passed a law which would have Montenegro's religious communities prove that the property they hold now was in their possession before the country lost its independence in 1918, and failure to do so would have monasteries and churches confiscated. You can see why this is a bad idea. Montenegro has essentially been ruled by a single man, Milo Djukanovic, since 1991. He came to power as an ally of Slobodan Milosevic, the ex-president of Serbia, who's now in the ground, and was initially pro-Serbian, but turned increasingly independent, culminating in separation of Montenegro from Serbia in 2006. Montenegro is nominally a democracy, but political parties have largely been neutered. In a small country, a minor bribe to a few key people is sufficient for control, essentially. Now, Montenegro is a country of a bit over 600,000 people. Around 180,000 are Serbs, which is about 29% of the population. Also, the dominant religion is Christian Orthodoxy, particularly the Serbian Orthodox branch, followed by both Serbs and Montenegrins. And this doesn't seem that bad up until you realize that Montenegro is the home to a bunch of medieval monasteries and churches such as Ostrog, Cetinje and Morača, and many others which belong to the Serbian Orthodox Church. And now they're all at the risk of being taken under custody by the Montenegrin government due to them being unable to come up with the proper documentation of the church's rightful ownership, due to, them being built in the medieval ages. So you kinda get the problem. Some people think that the goal seems to be to financially limit and weaken the Serbian Orthodox Church in Montenegro, which is one of the rare organizations capable of organizing opposition to the government. The church is not actively doing this, but they do potentially have the ability, and it is not controlled by Djukanovic or his proxies. Of course, it being the Balkans, shit went from 0 to 100. That when the law passed, a fight broke out in the Serbian parliament. After which a bunch of politicians got sent to fucking jail.
You piece of shit! Go to jail! Go to jail!
Which is just hella ironic. But of course, this wasn't the end of the escapade. In Serbia, protests were held in front of the Montenegrin embassy, and the madmen tried to set the Montenegro flag ablaze with bloody fireworks. God fucking damn it. Of course, with any Serbian protest, there is a required chant of Kosovo is the heart of Serbia. Be it Kosovo irrelevant or not. Meanwhile, protests are going on every single night, with thousands of people walking the streets of Montenegrin cities. In some instances, it has become so bad police have been called up to break them up, and the firemen have refused to help them because they don't want to go up against the people of their fate. Which, props to them, honestly. To pour more fuel on the fire, the president of Serbia announced his visit to Montenegro for Christmas Eve. Yes, you heard me right, Christmas Eve. According to the Serbian and Russian Orthodox Church, Christmas is on the 7th of January instead of 25th of December. Of course, this riled up Serbs in Montenegro a bit more because the president of Serbia is low-key giving his support, but in the end he decided to cancel like every girl 20 minutes before a date with me. You would think that the Balkans would plummet into a war over the unresolved issue of Kosovo or even Bosnia and their divisive asses, but it turns out there might be a war rumbling in Montenegro, which some people are concerned over, rightfully so, because back in the 90s when Serb minorities were overlooked in Bosnia and Croatia, we had a whole escapade with the Yugoslav war. And if history has taught us anything, if people went to war over something, it was religion. So we'll just have to wait and see how the situation escalates. Hopefully the Serbian Orthodox Church plays a reverse card and everything goes back to how it was, and we can all just go back to having our vacation in Montenegro like nothing happened. What do you think? Have you been to Montenegro? Are you a follower of the Serbian Orthodox Church? Let me know in the comment section below. My name is Nick and you've watched Living Ironically in Europe.